Still do it. Here we go.
Right. To the real JC
just
show.
not act like you're not paying attention, and D's gonna say what.
Yo, what's up, my brothers? Welcome back. Welcome back.
What up, Dave? What up?
How you feeling, man? Listen, man. Just maintain. Before we even get started, man, I just want to thank everyone. We got 100 subscribers right now to YouTube. That's great. Clap it up for yourself. Give yourself the flowers while you're alive. So we give ourselves flowers, like we're a bunch of brothers just trying to make a living on this little platform and everything and like that. But people, please like and subscribe. Tell people about us on Facebook, Twitter, Apple, and Spotify. So please like and subscribe. But thank you everyone that liked and subscribed already. We truly appreciate you all. Thank you so much. We really, really, truly
definitely. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Yeah. So guys, how was your week, man? What's going on, Rodney? Anything?
The only thing I could say is that due to this good weather, I still haven't turned that thermostat on. I'm making it to December.
Yo,
no heat. I'm saving a fortune right now.
Kelvin, what's up, bro?
I'm gonna tell you like this. You know what I'm gonna do? I made a decision. I'm about to get in shape next year. I want you to know I got things to do right now, so I can't do it. But I'm telling you, next year is gonna be. I just realized. So what I want you guys to hold me accountable. I want to give up sweets, and I want to give up. I mentioned the sweets, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's pretty much. I want to get right. I'm tired of dudes walking around, walls swole up. I'm about to get right. So I just want the viewing audience to know when you see this change, this metamorphosis that I go through, you heard it here first.
Yo, I'm gonna join you in that. I'm gonna give a white women a pig feet.
Oh man!
I could give up them pig feet. Them white women maybe.
Gotta keep the white women. Right? Yo, these are jokes, y'all.
These are all jokes.
Sometimes we're serious. Sometimes we are serious. It depends on who's saying it.
Right. My brother Derik, how was your week, man?
What's going on, my brother? I'm good, man. Little back pain, been working with that, but I did hear from my son, as I said before, he went away to the Navy. So he's doing real good. Told me he got a little position up there and already leadership already in boot camp. So I'm happy with that. You know what I mean? So other than that, that's what's happening. So he's good, and I'm good,
Anything eventful, anybody?
Slow week.
Yeah, the COVID kind of got everybody on the damper, I guess. You can't really do too much like we used to, So
it's coming back, and it looked like the numbers are creeping
up. Here in New York, I'm not feeling it, man.
I got a couple of my friends that tested positive this week too. So,
sorry to hear that.
Yeah, Ray and Sean, I hope you feel better soon, man.
Feel better, Ray and Sean.
Feel better.
I feel like we may see another shutdown coming.
Yeah, man. I think that's on the way, but we're gonna have to work. We're gonna have to work with it, man. But at least here's the thing. At least we kind of got used to how to move. You know what I'm saying? So it's just gonna be more of the same. We made it through the spring. They told us it was coming in the fall. We just got to get ready for it.
How much do you think about it? Do you because at one point people wouldn't touch doors. People were really afraid early on. Now I think people got a little more, comfortable. I have to admit, there are some days I don't really think about it much at all unless it has to do with the mask. Other than that, I do my due diligence. I'll wash my hands and cover up in public, but that's pretty much it. I don't go crazy with it because I think early on, the anxiety was probably just as bad as the virus to a lot of people.
Yeah, I agree. And I agree. Even with me having the virus and had it pretty bad, I mostly with the mask and stuff like that. Like, you know, I still got to go to work and stuff, so I'm not thinking about as much now. You food shopping and stuff, and then I was doing a lot of food giveaways to, you know, in the community. Like me talking about 150 to 250 people feed them. So it's like, you know, you think about it, but the mask, like Anton Gunn came out last week. You know, he worked in the Obama administration on the health plan and all stuff like that. He said, main thing, wear the mask, wash your hands. So,
yeah, that's right.
You know, so and everybody know, I think everybody's taking more vitamins and doing healthier stuff nowadays. Sea moss, elderberry.
Yeah, I'm definitely doing that myself. You know, I make sure I get those vitamins every day. I make sure I take care. You know, I'm getting that zinc, that vitamin C, that vitamin D. I'm getting the men's vitamin. You know, I'm taking everything. I'm really health conscious these days. And I think as far as like the washing the hands and all that stuff and wearing the mask, I think we've been at it so long now. It's become second nature for a lot of people. I know it has become. Doing it.
Only thing, Derik, you didn't say you take. You gotta take your Viagra every night. Gotta take that Viagra. That Viagra and that ginseng. Goddamn, you gotta, you know.
Well,
get that man back going. You know, go to the Jamaica spot.
You know what I'm saying?
Let me say something. I'm gonna give you guys a jewel.
Moringa going.
I'm gonna give you guys a jewel right now. If you want to get rich, okay? I'm just letting this know to the viewing audience. Collard green flavored smoothies. It's the next wave coming. I'm just telling you. I'm letting you know right now. I'm trying to tell you.
It will.
That's right.
That'll do. It will clean you out.
Put it right next to Rib Shack, and you got $1 billion business.
The Rib Shack is straight trash.
They laughed at Kel.
Hold on, Rod, Mike. So, but the one thing I want to ask you guys, like Derik, man, I know we was talking before earlier about like you got custody of your children and stuff like that, right? And everything.
Yeah.
Like that. And you one of the brothers I know, and next to Rodney that got you know, custody of the kids and wound up getting you know.
Yeah.
You want to talk about a little bit about that, man?
You know what? I got things as it was my oldest son. So as things happen in life, man, you know, it's amazing that the person that you could be with and that you love them, and then, you know, all of a sudden you have kids and you have responsibilities, and then you fall out. And once that thing happens, it's the same person that you love so much, all of a sudden just becomes almost like your worst enemy, that somebody you would never even imagine would do and say the things that they do and say. But that being said, you know, I knew that I had to have custody of my son in order to see him. You know, that was a non-start. I clearly felt that I was going to be that he was better off with me. Let's just put it like that. And I would say to anybody who's ever gone through a situation like that, especially as men, there is a chance. You know what I mean? If you're going through it, we know that we know how hard that is. The courts don't necessarily favor you in that situation, but you know, you got to push through. You know, you really got to push through, and especially, you know, the woman. Sometimes you won't have. Sometimes it's life and death. If you don't have a relationship with her, you're not going to have a relationship with the child. You know, and you know that coming in. So I mean, it is just what it is. But fellas are getting custody of their kids now, though. You know, I see a lot of young. Listen, when I went to. Anytime I went to go and pick my child up from all my children, really from daycare or wherever, I'm telling you, I saw a lot of brothers there picking up their kids. You know what I mean? I'm not saying they all had custody of their kids, but they were in their children's life.
Exactly,
you know?
and that's the main thing. Like that misnomer of like black men don't take care of their kids. Like
that's crazy. That's a crazy myth right there, man.
All the black men in my family take care, and we take care of other women's kids that they bring into their relationship. So you know, and so it's like it's a little different. Like I'm tired of that misnomer that's going out here that we don't take care of kids. Now there are some that are bad, but I really could say I don't. And y'all know I know a lot of people. I might know one or two brothers that might not be the best of fathers, and I think they realize that now.
Yeah, I'll tell you this much though. But any man, if you find yourself going through that situation and you're trying to get custody of kids because you're trying to avoid child support, that is not the good reason to do it, bro, because it's not going to work for you. You know what I mean? Because because let me tell you something. It's just not gonna work for you. You know, it's just not. It's not. It's money. If it's about money, you're gonna. You know, that's not gonna be it. And you're not gonna have the staying power to do it. And God forbid you, if you actually win custody somehow, you're not gonna. Yeah, it's not gonna work for you. That can't be your motivation. That can't be your motivation.
Well, no, you guys can hear me?
Yeah, we got you, Rod.
Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. I had a little technical difficulty. But Derik, you're absolutely right. If you go up in the court and make it all about money, it's not going to happen for you.
Yeah.
The reality of it is, you just basically have to go up in there and prove that you are, the better parent, and that those children can advance their lives in your custody.
Yeah.
It is possible. Me and you both did it. I did it with 3 children.
Yeah.
And the reality of it is, you go in there and you got to paint the picture. The rules are a little bit different compared to when you just have a child in common, compared to when you're married. The divorce rules make it a little bit more of an even playing field when it comes to the man, and you just have to prove that you can provide a better life for those children than she can.
Yeah, no, and then it's just the thing. They're gonna, when you go into court, they want to know, what kind of which parent, who's giving the child the bath, who's who's taking care of the baby, who's taking them to school. They want all that is comes under under the umbrella. So you got to be on it. You can't just start.
Correct. They even asked me, because I had 2 girls. They asked me, who's going to do the girls' hair. I say, well,
that's real.
They do. They ask those questions, like, who's going to do the girls' hair for them?
Yeah.
I'm going to say, well, I do their hair, and my sister helps me do their hair, and my aunt, and all that stuff. And guess what? There's a beauty salon that I can take them to every week. So you got to have those answers. You got to be prepared for every scenario. And another thing too, like, people think like you're going to save money by getting the kids. That's not true. If the person that you're going to spend more.
You're going to spend more. Yeah. You will spend more. Trust me on that. Yeah.
So another thing, man, like going on this week, man. Right now, actually going on is Trump. First of all, we know he didn't want to say that he lost. This is a bitch ass dude, but
he lost.
I won't get no political. We won't get no political sponsors now, but he lost, and he changed his hair. Now he has gray hair.
Yeah.
He stopped dyeing it blonde or something, man. Got rid of the yellow.
I guess
he went from yellow to like a little bit gray. But if you pay attention to him throughout his term, like, he'll do that every now and then.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, like, he'll come, and some days he'll look a little darker orange than usual. You know what I'm saying? He'll go from regular orange to like tangerine.
Orange.
So like a Halloween orange.
Yeah, it's like a pumpkin orange.
Pumpkin orange.
I guess it depends. Like, when he goes to the rally, he's really orangey,
Yeah.
You're getting the real Donald then. You know what I mean? He's 100% orange at that point.
This is all right. Seriously, now so many different ways. What do y'all really think is going to happen? Do you think he ever going to say he lost, or he's just never going to just show up?
It's not going to matter, man. I saw Roland Martin. He said on his thing, he said he doesn't give a damn what he do no more. He said that meant because they're going to walk him out regardless. You know what I'm saying? Secret Service going to come and say, oh, time to go. You go, it don't matter.
It depends if they're at work. You got them all sick now. They all got the
COVID. Yeah. See, that's the problem. That's the problem. This guy basically showed how much he failed. He couldn't even keep the coronavirus out of the White House. Pretty much everybody in there's got it. You got a super spreader events. He's doing rallies. I mean, that's embarrassing. You got a pandemic going on, and you couldn't even keep it out the White House.
Yo, but a lot of white people, and I'm just saying this, I'm keeping it a buck, they still don't believe it's real. My friend Chicken Wing, we all know Crazy Chicken Wing. He had a conversation today with someone that really think this is fake. Like, everything he sees on the news, everything is fake. Like, the uptick is fake. People getting sick is fake. So I'm saying, like, how are you explaining the hospitals being full of sick people? We got morgues and stuff outside these hospitals, not in New York anymore, in these other towns. Yeah, so it's I don't understand their mindset. Like, then you got a whole bunch of people today marching. They culture vultures on that. He had 1 million man march, black people put it together. Now you got 1 million mega march. You probably got 100,000 maybe showed up. Like, culture vultures are there. They still bite everything we do too. Man.
Yeah.
Like, they hate us so much they want to be us though. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah. The misinformation on social media is part of the reality of it. Is why people think it's not real, but it's real. And let me explain something to you. This country is about money. Ain't nobody shutting the economy down, causing the stock market to drop, and all that stuff, and it's fake. That's never going to happen. It's real, and that's the reason why those things happen. Nobody is trying to lose money in this country,
Yeah. Well, what did it say to you with all of these supporters coming to DC? Because I saw some trailer. I know Dee had shared it about this call to action with these truckers and all these different people. My thought is this. On January 20th, when Joe Biden puts one hand on the Bible and one hand in the air, at that moment when he is sworn in as the 46th president of the United States, Trump will go from being the most powerful man in the free world to a civilian. And as Derik said, he will be escorted out of the building if he needs to. That's just it. Now, I don't think he has the class to show up. I mean, even this week, he wouldn't even acknowledge. He and his crazy press secretary wouldn't even acknowledge.
I know, it's crazy
that the election was fair. And I have to admit, his biggest supporters in the media, the Fox News people, I think they had the gentleman on that is in charge of elections in Philadelphia. There's nothing there. They're getting thrown out of court as fast as they're going in. So
that's right.
I think he's just trying to feed this to his base. And I have to tell you, I'm doubling down on my comment, Rodney. I think the ship has sailed. I'm telling you, I think the branding and all that. First of all, let me tell you what's going to happen. CNN and all these networks that had to cover him, and he had them over a barrel, they're going to blacklist him. They're going to blacklist him.
No, I agree.
They're not going to cover him.
They're going to cover him. Calvin, they're going to cover him. They're going to cover him in a different way, though.
I'll be honest with you. I keep giving my Dennis Rodman example. Wearing the dress and the black fingernail polish and all stuff like that is good when you win a championship.
Yeah.
When it's over.
But even when Dennis Rodman was done, using the same analogy, he'd still come out with the finger polish and he would do walk. So he was like a traveling circus.
But think about the last time you saw him, or before that, the last time you cared. I mean, until he went over to North Korea, like he didn't have any sense. You didn't cover him, because at one time all he had to do was breathe, and they was on it. You know what I mean? And this base that he has, they can't afford any of his products. They can't live in his buildings. They can't, support his network.
He's an icon, man. He's an icon.
His daughter's trying to come back to New York, but she's looking like she might not be welcome.
Yeah, she don't want to be seen out in the streets of New York. Somebody want to
go outside her head. They're gonna have to wait for that to cool off a little bit.
Yeah. You can't just revert back like nothing happened.
No, you can't just jump right into New York, man. No.
Yeah, you can't have 70 something million people that voted for you, and then you're gonna just disappear.
Wait, now this is the thing. Now some of the people were committed to the GOP.
I understand that. Those are rich people.
So you have some people that vote. So he could have 70 million votes. He doesn't have 70 million people behind him. Just like Biden had more votes than anybody in history. He don't have that many people behind him.
No,
they vote against this man.
I understand that. The thing is, too, even if we cut it down to 50 million, that's still a lot of people. That's still a lot of money. The thing is, this, like I told you before, this is going to be Trump's new story. I'm the president that got robbed of the election. He's going to continue on his conspiracy theories. That's going to be his new brand. I do believe still he's going to have a problem with Fox because they're not covering him the way that he wants them to cover them on, because news media is going to treat him a lot different. So he's going to create his own network. I really believe that Trump is still going to be relevant in society, and we still will be hearing.
Let me tell you something. Do you think Donald Trump can't create a YouTube channel right now?
Absolutely, we did it.
Look, that's what I'm saying.
We did it. So, and the other thing, the thing is, he can front like he didn't lose the election. But he's guaranteed to be out of there.
Now I feel that y'all making a lot of sense. But what about the shelf life? Eventually, what happens. This is the problem. All right, you take years ago with Howard Stern or Don Imus. The problem with a shock jock used to be eventually it was no longer shocking.
Right.
The problem with a narcissistic nut like this, after a while, we've heard all the hits. We've heard all the craziness. There's nothing else. In other words, the problem is he saved his best stuff for the office. So there's nothing else ridiculous that you can say.
I don't know.
There's nothing else,
if he can
all have the same potency.
The thing is, Calvin, you're talking about as though you're going to still be watching them. Like, the thing is, you got to realize there's a lot of people out there. You won't hear from them because you're not going to be watching his channel. You're not going to be following him on social media and all that stuff. But the people that are, or his soldiers, people that are part of his cult, they're going to still follow him. And I still say that's guaranteed. That's guaranteed, going into the Jamaican spot after 5 and there not being oxtails. It's the same thing. It's guaranteed. It's guaranteed.
He can get on the Howard Stern show. tomorrow.
Yeah.
Howard Stern don't even rock with him like no more, but he would still get on it, and Howard would still put him on there. He can
come on, Rush Limbaugh. That guy's got a huge. Yeah, he
and
can walk on it anytime he wants.
What's the other guy who's all crazy with the conspiracy theories? The other dude.
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
Alex something other.
Jones or something like that.
Jones, yeah.
Alex Jones.
He can
go on there all the time.
Forget about it. And that's without him even starting his own.
Correct. We don't watch that, but his base is going to watch it.
It'll be all over. Donald Trump spills all the secrets in the White House. You know what I'm saying? Right. He had his finger on the button, and I'm telling you, and this time he wouldn't have any public office or anything like that to even worry about. You know what I mean? None of that. He could just come out and just say whatever. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's crazy, man.
Okay, well, with that remains to be seen. Just remember this, gentlemen. Yeah. Everybody loves a winner.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
So you know what happens to losers, but we'll see. Yeah.
They'll spin it.
Eventually they're gonna say.
But they'll spin it like he never lost. It was taken from him. You had to do it.
That's what he's gonna do. Yeah. But the thing is, something's really caught my attention, right? Just to change the subject slightly about how things are changing, right? Mm-hmm. A woman of color got into the White House before a white woman, right? And the thing is, I think like 51 or 52% of white women still voted for Trump. And they did the same thing when Hillary ran. It kind of shows me like women don't want to see themselves. White women don't want to see themselves in the White House. They're more comfortable with an older white man running the country. So that's another thing that we got to pay attention to too. He's got a loyal female base too.
He does.
So yes, like I said, it's like 51 or 52% of white women still voted for Trump.
They come out for him.
They still come out for him. If you look at those rallies, lots of women are there. It's a little scary, how women don't want to see their own self in running this country or in the White House. But it goes to show you how strong his following is.
Yeah, I mean, like it, love it or hate it, it's there.
He's Calvin. He's going to still be around. He's just going to get covered different. He's going to recreate a new story for himself.
Oh yeah, the Trump crazy train is not out of sight.
Well, the one thing I will say, he'll never have a platform as big as the Oval Office again.
Absolutely, he won't. But I'm going to tell you something else. I'm predicting.
Go ahead.
I'll tell you something else I'm predicting. Right, I feel we're going to see a political massacre, and the reason why is because when the GOP starts pulling away for Trump, those guys in the Senate and everything, all those Republicans start pulling away from him when he gets out of the White House and everything. Mm-hmm. Trump is the type of guy that's going to tell on people, especially when he's in trouble. So that's what I'm trying to say. So he's not going to go down by himself either. That's going to make the news too when he starts telling on people, because he's going to.
No, because he's a snitching bitch. He's a bitch.
He's a dry snitcher. Yeah, and you're right. He's really a coward. He's really a coward. Yeah. And the thing is, if he starts to get too much heat from these cases and these lawsuits, I'm telling you, he's going to take down a lot of politicians with him.
Yeah. It's a crazy, like with this, like the way the world is right now and everything. One of the things is like it's like gold in a crisis. Like, the thing is, like, to me, right now with COVID hitting, one of the best things people could do right now is to start looking for homes and stuff like that. Yeah, because the rates are super duper cheap. Lowest I think I've ever seen. I'm not sure.
They're lowest in history, D.
Lowest in history right now, right?
They're
super low in history, right? So it's like, I think right now, like a lot of Black people were talking about, and Latino people talking about home ownership. We talking about buying land and stuff like that. I'm glad that, because that's the biggest way we build wealth in our community is owning our homes. Like, we all grew up in Queens at some point. We lived in Queens, all of us at some point here and there. And we see like Jamaica, Queens was one back in the 70s and the 60s and the 80s was the big Black home ownership was in South Jamaica, Queens. Black people own homes and real estate. Go ahead, Rob. Sorry.
That was Queens was the first suburbs for Black people.
It was the first suburbs for Blacks. Yeah. With that said, like, I want to, like, one topic I think we should talk about is like talking about real estate and how to purchase a home and what's the benefits and some of the pros and some of the cons of buying different kind of things from co-ops and stuff like that. So with that said, our first guest of the night is my dear boy. I know him for a long time. I did business with this gentleman for a long time. He's a good stand-up guy. Can we bring in Corey McManus, please? My man, Corey.
Oh, what's
Hey,
up?
Corey, what's up,
What up,
brother?
Corey? What up, Corey? What up, man?
Nice to meet you.
Hey, I'm good. How you guys doing?
Good, man.
Good.
This brother cleans up well, man. I tell you, man, this guy come, man, shining on us, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He wear
I just put on a sport coat with a t-shirt, man.
You know what I'm saying?
The flower and the powers.
He coordinating.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Gotta coordinate. You know what I mean?
But clean on the show, man. Come on.
Clean.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something like a pimp.
Yo, like Rory came in like a pimp. He a California pimp.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
Fresh as soda. That's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yo,
nice to meet you, brother.
Yeah, man. So Corey, man,
Good to
welcome.
meet you
Thanks,
guys,
thanks for
man.
coming on the show, man. We're gonna pick your brain today. Corey, tell the people a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Well, I originate mortgage loans, so I am a loan officer. I've been doing this for 20 years, so almost 20 years. It'll be, 19 and a half years, almost 20. And but I originate loans, mortgage loans, for those who want to buy a home, or for those who are looking to refinance. They already own a home, they want to refinance. And there's some unique scenarios that I've helped persons where, their parent might have grant deeded a home to them, and so they need some financing. So I've guided, gave a structure and guided them what to do to put themselves in a position to get a mortgage loan in that scenario. Because just because you own a home and have a whole lot of equity and you might have great credit doesn't necessarily mean you're going to qualify for a mortgage loan. So there's a lot of nuances into it. And I heard your lead in, Damon, about the rates being historically low. They are low. Mortgage rates tend to do better in a down economy. So this is what you're seeing right now, down economy. So the interest rates are better to entice people to get a mortgage loan and a means to try to stimulate the economy. The unique area that we saw might have been during the Obama administration, during his second term, where the economy was starting to recover and they still had low rates. That was a very unique time. But, rates, experts predict that the rates might stay low, maybe through this time next year before we see an uptick. But they're good right now.
That's good.
Yeah. Corey, I got a question for you. Could you explain to the viewers maybe three things? What is refinancing their home for people that own a home? And what is the advantage to home ownership versus renting?
Okay, well, to answer your first question, refinance is when you have a home, whether you own a mortgage against it or let's assume you have a mortgage on your home. And someone might have bought in their home and they had an FHA where they have mortgage insurance on that loan, or they might have put less than 20% down. And there's other mortgages that still have a mortgage insurance. So what we are able to do, maybe a year, 2-3 years down the line, where you're able to get that needed equity in your home, you can qualify for another mortgage to pay off the old one that you have, the current one, whereas it'll lower your interest rate, lower your payment, and get rid of that mortgage insurance altogether, thus giving you a lower payment. So that's a refinance. Basically, you're getting another mortgage to pay off the old one you have, or you're just simply taking some cash out because you don't have a mortgage. So those are a couple scenarios of refinancing. So the benefit to owning versus renting is the tax benefit. The interest that you pay on a mortgage loan, the interest is tax deductible. So that's going to lower the dollar amount that you pay on taxes every year. So whatever you're paying in mortgage, you're going to lower your tax liability by that amount. So it's tax deductible. The second part is you get to enjoy that share of equity. So leading into this conversation, I heard Damon say, your family wealth and generational wealth through real estate. There's really only two keys to generational wealth in this country. And that's real estate and life insurance with a period on the end. So that's really just those two. So when it's Damon's time or your time, when it's our time to go, what are we going to leave our family and our loved ones? You leave them your real estate.
Right.
Okay. Or you leave them the cash benefit of that life insurance policy. That's the keys of generational wealth. You know, I was telling a colleague of mine just 60 years ago here in California and in a lot of different counties, it was illegal for Black people to even buy a home. You guys are there in New York. There was redlining. It didn't matter how much money you had or how credit you were, how good of a person you were. You just could not buy property in certain areas. It was Blacks couldn't do that.
We had that bad in Long Island. Yeah.
Right. It didn't matter. It was against the law. We could not buy real estate. And so that generational wealth, you know, we got behind in that because our other Americans got a 400-year start on that generational wealth. So, you know, when you buy a home, you get to share that equity. You bought a home today, 20 years from now, let's say you bought a home for $500,000, 20 years from now, it's going to be worth $1.5 million. You can refinance, pay your children's college tuition, pay for their wedding.
You can fix the house up.
You can remodeling. And even when you pass away, you give it to your children. Because oftentimes I run into persons who are of retirement age and they're asking me about a 15-year mortgage. And I'm looking at them like, for what?
Yeah.
I mean, what are you going to do when you're 80? You can't do now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's and they don't understand. I'm like, I'll give you the 15 years if that's what you truly want. You qualify for it, no problem. But enjoy your retirement. Shrink your payment as low as you can get it, and just enjoy your retirement. Let your kids worry about paying it off.
I'm
Don't struggle to pay them off.
Exactly. I'm gonna shrink my payment so I can have more money to spend in the strip club. I want to be back at VIP.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? I want champagne bottles.
Exactly.
That's what I want. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, yo, I just want
right.
Hey, listen, I just want to address some things. I saw one or two comments here.
Yeah.
All right. Lisa wants to know, wants clarity. She wants to know what's an FHA. FHA.
Well, an FHA loan
FHA and conventional too.
Well, an FHA loan, let me answer that question. Federal Housing Authority, that's basically an agency loan that's guaranteed by the Federal Housing Authority. That loan typically is for persons who have less than 20% to put down. Okay, so it's a higher risk loan. So an FHA loan, you can get in with as little as 3.5% down. Okay, and there are some down payment assistance programs where they use FHA guidelines, and you can come in with less than 1% down of your own money, and you have a silent second, or just cut. It's what they call a silent second. But the FHA, it serves its purposes in order to help persons get into a home, because the hardest part of buying a home for most people is the down payment. That's usually the toughest part, is the down payment. So FHA is a good way to get into a home, less money out of pocket. The challenge sometimes with FHA is it's less money to get in, but because of the mortgage insurance piece, mortgage insurance is what you're going to pay every month on top of your mortgage payment. That kind of tends to put a hitch on the amount that you may otherwise qualify for, but it serves its purpose. Now, you answered, I think, Rodney, you asked a question to conventional. Conventional is another, it's an agency loan, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. It's like saying tomato, it's the same thing. They're two different agencies, but they're basically the same thing. There's some slight differences, but I won't bore you with that stuff. But conventional loans are typically when you put 20% down. There are some conventional loans where you can put less than 20% down. You will have mortgage insurance. Mortgage insurance is slightly less on a conventional loan. Comparing apples to apples, if you qualify for the conventional loan versus FHA, 9 times out of 10, the conventional loan is going to be the way to go. FHA serves its purpose, but FHA is typically for those who really just might not have no other means to get a mortgage loan. So therefore you go to FHA. But if you can qualify conventional, I'll always say go conventional.
Do you FHA loan is typically an owner occupancy loan. It means you have to
It's
live in it.
always an owner occupancy.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah,
The only exception to that is, let's say you want to buy your parents a home, you can get an FHA loan to buy your parents a home.
Okay.
But they'll look at it a little tighter if you have 3 or 4 different investment properties and you are on paper a real estate investor. It's kind of hard to meet that guideline requirement of buying a home for your parents, but it can be done.
Yeah.
Okay, I got. There's another one. There's a refi question. So let's say you pay on time, you pay on time,
Mm-hmm.
and you have that history, and you want to do a refi. But let's say your income isn't enough. All right. What can you do?
Pray about it. Just kidding. So
pray a lot.
Well, you know what? When I first met Damon back in 2004, I tell people it's harder now to get a loan than it was 10 plus years ago.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So if you had asked me this question before 2008, I'd say as long as you had a 680 credit score, it was done. What you want? Up to $1 million. I didn't verify nothing but your credit score. And so, but that led into the mortgage meltdown we had in 09 and 10. Right. So now you have to meet all phases of the transaction, what we refer to as the 3 C's: credit, collateral, and capacity. Credit is self-explanatory. Collateral is the property itself. Capacity encompasses, will this loan perform in the manner to which it's intended? And that goes to your question about if you don't have enough income. So the challenges here now are, can you get a co-buyer or co-borrower? Someone to buy the home with you, or a husband or wife, or someone to help you co-qualify for that loan. Because now, I shouldn't say there aren't any, but you're going to be hard pressed to find a loan where the income piece doesn't matter. Okay, so
that's any kind of loan.
Well, you have hard money loans, which is basically legal loan sharking.
Real estate loan sharking. Yeah.
Right. So we
Corey, we might have to explain what hard. A lot of people never heard of hard money loans before. So if anybody want to jump.
Well, a hard money loan is it's exactly what it sounds like. Hard money. Basically, you can't qualify for a loan in any other means except to go to, remember good times back and say Lenny would come and open and give you all kinds of loans and make up. He would make up the guidelines and the terms, right?
Yeah.
So a hard money loan is, I'll give you a scenario. Hard money loan is, and I don't originate hard money loans, so I'm going to give you my educated from what I understand about it. I'm not an expert in hard money loans. I don't want to infer that I am. Okay.
Right.
But a hard money loan is, I'll give you a scenario. Let's say you did a refi, you took some cash out, you got your money, and you want to refund, you're going to remodel your back bedroom. And you knock out a wall, you get going, and then 3/4 of the way through, you run out of money. And so you need some money to finish your project. You can't go to the bank and get a regular mortgage loan to fix that up, because the banks are going to look at that and say, no, finish that first, because we don't want to get caught with a property that needs to get fixed first. Okay. So you might go and get a hard money loan where that particular lender says, okay, you'll sign a deed, he'll put a lien on the property, give you your 30, 40, 50 grand, and give you 6 months to pay it back, and might charge you 25% interest, or 20% interest on his money on a per diem, on a per day. So the longer you go to pay him back his money, he's just making money every single day, whether it's $200-300 a day. And I've seen scenarios like that where builders do flips. They get a hard money loan, and the investor just puts a lien on the property, and that person who got that hard money loan, it's costing them per day $200-300 per day while they're holding this money, fix their project so they can hurry up and sell it, right? And so that's, in a nutshell, I like to tell people, a hard money loan, that's like I said, legal loan sharking.
Yeah,
It's,
worst case scenario.
It is.
Let me ask you a question, Corey.
it does serve its purpose when you need it, though.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this question. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Rod.
No, I was just going to add to that. Basically, those hard money loans. Most people use them. They're investors, like you said. They're doing flips, and it is risky. The property is the collateral, and they basically use the after repair value of the property to be able to judge if they could give you this loan. The thing is, too, if people that are flipping homes or they're not experienced or whatever, and you get a bad contractor, and that contractor doesn't finish that work,
man.
you are going to take a beating. You're going to take a beating.
They'll kill you. They'll kill you.
Yeah, you're going to take and they're going to take the property and whatever work that you started on it, they're going to take it with it. So I mean, go ahead.
No, I was thinking if the markets come back, because right now a lot of banks like credit unions, they'll be the best way sometimes for people to take a little bit of money out. Is the credit unions? What's the better part of using a credit union at times for if people want to get into homes and stuff like that?
Well, I can't speak because a credit union, banks, they all have their little niches, right? So I can't speak for all credit unions. I can't speak for all banks, right? So credit unions typically tend to have fewer options, okay, versus say Chase, City, or regular bigger banks, or like for myself, I'm a loan officer at New American Funding. The credit unions tend to sometimes, you will usually have less options. They have less type of different loan products available to them. But whatever they do have, they typically tend to exceed at those. Like if they have 2 loans, they're excellent at those 2 because they only do 2, right? So a bank might have 25 loans and they're good at all 25, whereas credit union may only have 2 because they're servicing a little niche, and so they may be excellent at just those 2. But credit union, I think, is your question? Are you particularly? Are you trying to ask about a line of credit?
Line of credit from credit. That's what I messed up on that. Yeah,
I thought so. A home equity line of credit is an institution will give you. It's like having a credit card in your back pocket against the value, the equity that you have in your home. So whatever your value is, take the value, you minus what you owe. Okay, that difference is your equity. A lender will give you a line of credit against that equity. So typically the maximum combined loan to value, the percentage is 80%. So if your home is worth $1 million, okay, and you owe $500,000 on your home, okay, 80% of $1 million is $800,000, right? So if you subtract what you owe, it's $500,000. That's $300,000 that's available to you on a line of credit. Some lenders only go up to 100, some 250, some may give you a line of credit to 300. It depends. But the advantages of a line of credit, let's say if you want to buy a home down in North Carolina or Mississippi or Tennessee, we can pick something up for, under 100,000. I would suggest if you have that equity, get that line of credit, because now you got it in your back pocket. And you can go and pay cash for that home down out of state without having to, because sometimes, who's the gentleman that's just finished a flip?
Rodney just finished.
Rodney. Okay. So Rodney will attest to this. When you do a flip, it's hard to go get traditional financing against that property because that property is 9 times out of 10 is not traditionally available for traditional financing. And that's because the property is what they call distressed.
Correct.
Right? It's either got a hole in the roof or the foundation's messed up or the kitchen's all torn out. It cannot be financed traditionally. So you got to pay cash for that property. What better way to pay cash if you just don't have it sitting in your bank other than getting a line of credit against your own home? You don't pay anything against that line of credit until you use it. So as long as you got a zero balance, you're not paying anything. You get your line of credit, you find something, you tell the seller, I'll write a check for it. Basically just writing a check on your line of credit. Boom. Do what you need to do with that house, flip it. Now, the unfortunate thing in the last 5 years, lines of credit, the interest rate, unfortunately, the interest on lines of credit is no longer tax deductible. It sucks, but it's no longer tax deductible. Interest rates are typically, maybe 1 on top of the prime rate, which is, I hadn't even been paying attention to what the prime rate is. Rodney, you might be able to tell me since you just recently done a flip. But you can typically get a line of credit for 5-6% or less, and you're only paying interest only.
Yeah, that's about it.
Let me ask this question: does it make sense to refinance out of one bank into another? Some banks, for instance, during the crisis, I guess in 2008, there were some that banks were going out of business. I think it was one Countrywide and all these different places. They were actually, I guess, flipping papers. But I have this bias against Bank of America. It seems like a very, very hard bank to deal with. But do you need to refinance within your own bank, or can you just go outside of the bank? Does it matter?
No, you can go outside of the bank. Yeah, you can go. So, I actually have done a couple of loans where I've had, whenever you're doing a refinance, when it comes to the operation side and underwriting that file, that loan has to have what is called a benefit to the buyer or to the borrower. Okay, there has to be, I'm fumbling on my word, but there's a term that there has to be a net tangible benefit to the client. Okay, meaning I can't sell you on a loan where you're only going to be saving $35 a month. Okay, because when I get it back to my processing department, they're looking at it, they're going to wonder where's the net tangible benefit for this client to go through this hassle of a refinance. Sure, you're lowering his rate by 0.5 point, but he's only saving $35 a month. Where's the net tangible benefit, right? So I had a client who wanted to refinance simply because she just, and I'm going to put the name out there, but she told me she couldn't stand Sinlar. There was a servicing company, and I got the loan, and I looked at it, and I told her, I said, well, we're not going to meet the net tangible benefit because I'm not saving you enough money. And she said, well, who do I got to write the letter to? I just want to get out from having to deal with them. And so she wrote the letter, and it was accepted by management because to her, this is my tangible benefit. Yes, the rate's only coming down a little bit. I know I'm only saving X amount of dollars per month. I just want to get out from having to deal with that company. And so that was accepted. Okay. But for the most part, when your question is, no, you can get a refinance from whomever, whatever loan, it doesn't matter. You don't have to refinance within the same company that's servicing your loan right now.
Somebody asked a question about Quicken Loans. What are your thoughts on Quicken Loans?
I don't like to get into speaking negatively about anybody.
Because you might get a job there one day.
Well, it's
I'll do it.
Right. Well,
you might be a sponsor. Chill.
Right, there you go. And it's not just that, but I was taught a long time ago, just as we were kids coming up, if your buddies told you to stay away from this girl and she was cute, we always had to go find out for ourselves. Yep. Right? Yeah. So it's just the same thing. If I tell you start speaking negatively about the other lender, about some other company, 9 times out of 10, that client's going to go over there to find out what it is I don't want them to know.
Sure.
Right? So the only thing I can tell people is, look, everything is black and white. I don't hide anything. If I can't answer your question, shame on me. Right? So it's a matter of, I want you to feel comfortable enough and want to do business with me. Right? And take interest rate pricing out of the picture. I hope that you want to do business with me. Okay. If you make that decision, I want to do business with Corey, and someone else quotes you something that's slightly better, I'll say, okay, give that to me. I'm going to go to management because I don't want my client to walk across the street over a few dollars. Okay. Because I want that person to say, do you want to do business with me? Right. And if the answer is yes, fantastic. I've done my job. Because I've seen it I've seen it where I've had clients come back to me and we start, and then someone else shows them something real shiny. Oh, I can get you this. And they want to jump ship. And I've had 1 or 2 jump ship only to come back 2 or 3 weeks later because, oh man, they're not answering my call. I can't get any answers. I don't know what's going on. Now they're telling me this and the rates have changed. And
the big banks are like that, Corey. The big banks, it seems like it's hard, like a Wells Fargo. Not talking bad about Wells Fargo, because Wells Fargo, I did business with them before too. But Bank of America, and I agree with you, Kelvin, on Bank of America. But open a business, you take them as a sponsor. But it seems like long time ago we had bad relations. Long time ago.
Long time ago.
Yeah. But do you think like smaller banks like yourself and Rodney and I do business with this lady from Links Mortgage, a lady named Shabana. Do you think those are better ways for people to have? Is a better relationship? Is it things? I know you turn over loans. I know you did. I've been doing this with you before. You said if I can't close a loan in 30 days, I don't need to be in the business.
Yeah. Well, and see, after 2000 and the only thing that's consistent with mortgage lending is change. Mm-hmm. Okay. It's always changing, always evolving. Okay. I tell people all the time who listen, it's not going to get easier to get a mortgage. Mm-hmm. Right. Get off that train if you think it's going to get easier, because it's not. Okay. So I learned the business the old fashioned way, and then it got real easy in 02, 03, 04. Right. Mm-hmm. And then leading up to 08, it was just so simple to get a loan. You can just, we was just passing them out like candy bars, and then it crashed. Right. More than half the people that got into the business after 02 are not in it anymore because they didn't know how to originate mortgage loans the old fashioned way. They didn't know how to calculate debt to income ratios. Mm. They didn't know how to analyze a credit report. Mm. They didn't know how to look at an appraisal report. So now you have to look at all these things. Your question, Jamon, was, is it better to do business with a bigger bank versus a smaller bank? Mm-hmm. You can get just as frustrated with a small institution as you can with a big institution. The challenge that I see, that I hear clients, what I hear is clients, when they start this transaction with the loan originator, which would be me, I'm a loan officer, I originate loans. What happens is a lot of loan officers take that loan, and we have assistants, we have processors, they take the application and they throw it over their shoulder. Now you're talking to my assistant or the processor. I don't do business that way. That's just the way I prefer to do it. I prefer my clients speak to me and only me from the beginning all the way through the end, because it makes the communication more direct. Right? You got a question about your loan, you can ask me. I don't want you talking to my processor. I don't want you talking to my assistant, because God, if they can do what I do, they'd be doing what I do. Mm-hmm. Bottom line, right? I always tell for me, if my assistant can do what I do, she'd be doing what I do.
So Corey, is your job to find a way?
Yeah, I'm like the pilot, right? We take off, there might be some turtles, but my goal is to get you to the end and get you there safely.
So if there is a way, Corey, you'll find it.
Yeah, if there's a loan there, if there's a loan, I'm gonna get it done.
It's in his best interest to close the deal.
Right. Yeah, because I get paid $0 for not closing a loan.
Correct.
Right? Correct. Now, if I can't help you, I'm not going to waste your time. I'm going to tell you probably within the first conversation, I can't help you. Doesn't mean that you cannot be helped. Right? Like I said, I don't do hard money loans. If what you need is a hard money loan, I will tell you I can't help you, but you may be able to get a hard money loan, but I can't do it. Right? So I hear people, another client, well, what if they're waiting for the prices to come down? They're waiting for the prices to come down on homes. I'm like, prices aren't coming down.
No, they're not.
They're not going to come down. Now they might, instead of skyrocketing like this, they might
level
out a little bit, but we're not going to see what we saw in 08 and 09.
Yeah, those are the good old days.
Well, we're not going to see it now because everyone who has a mortgage loan has qualified fully for that loan.
Correct.
Their income qualifies, their credit qualifies, the appraisal with what they bought the property meets all the guidelines. Right now we're going through COVID, right? I'm gonna tell you, I won't say the name of this lender, but I had a transaction, and sometimes we can broker out through different banks. Bank has X guidelines. We had a file that met it. We put it into processing. The very next day, they changed their guidelines. They moved the goalpost, right? So we didn't know that until almost a week later when they reviewed it and came back and had suspended the file. I'm like, what's going on? Well, they had a requirement, and then they tightened the screws a little bit because of COVID. And I can tell you what the guideline is. It's the amount of reserves. You guys all know what reserves are. So whatever your mortgage payment is, lenders have certain reserve requirements. This lender had 12 months of reserve requirements. My client had more than 12 months reserves, more than 12 months payments in IRA, investment accounts, plenty of money. But what they did was, oh, well, now we need 6 of those 12 months to be in a regular checking or savings account, need to be liquid. So they flipped it. So now it's like, oh, now he's got to come up with liquid cash. So that's what I mean by in COVID, and that was a response to COVID when people are losing their jobs. So the lenders are saying, hey, we want to be more conservative and make clients a little more well qualified and require those reserves to be liquid. That's a direct response to COVID.
Gotcha.
Okay. So and if you work in a certain industry, especially if you work in a restaurant, if you're a restaurant related industry, good luck trying to get a mortgage loan right now.
So Corey, real quick, we want to bring it because it's more like now we got the financing side. You're the most important part, getting financing. So we have another person we're going to bring in right now. Is Rodney has done business with Rodney. When you get introduced to our next person, I guess.
Well, like you said, there's another part to this this entity, and most of the time when you're looking for home ownership or investments in the property, an agent basically can find you the property or find you the investment property. So we're going to bring in a good friend of mine and also a business associate of mine. We're going to bring in Angela Harris.
Hey guys.
Hey Angela, how you doing?
What's up?
Hi. Thank you guys for inviting me on. I just want to say how much I love the program and how much I appreciate the voice you bring to the media, because we don't hear enough from responsible Black men who we talk about not existing. But it's great every week to see 4 of you guys, and I'm very, very happy to be here.
Angela, thank you. I'm going to cash app you your money in about 15 minutes. Right? But no, me and Angela have known each other for a little while now, numerous years, and we've done business together, and we're also friends. I consider Angela a friend. Angela, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do and where you work.
Okay, I'm a residential realtor. I work a lot with mostly residential real estate, a little commercial here and there, but mostly residential real estate. And it's a passion of mine because home ownership is the way middle income people traditionally build wealth. And you know that African Americans, we don't have home ownership as much as the other white America does. And that's been systemic racism in the housing market that has kept that way for a long time. So I started in the industry about 13 years ago. I'm from a Jamaican West Indian background where everybody's like, oh gosh, you got to own a home. You got to own a home. So it's really a passion for me. I started when, a little before the mortgage crisis. So I've worked with a lot of distressed homeowners when they short saled their home, and a lot of first-time home buyers because the market was very different then. Right now, I'm working with HomeSmart, and our office is out of Freeport. And that's just a little bit about my background. And being a realtor is really a lot about working with people to achieve that goal, because buying a home is not like buying shoes. You don't just run out there trying a few shoes and find one that fit and you're good to go. It's a process. And of course, it starts with the lender and then with the realtor. And then we navigate you through all the other steps in becoming a homeowner.
Yeah. And asking, Angela's based out of Freeport, Long Island. So she said Freeport. So people in different states, we have people on. But she's Freeport, Long Island. Somebody's asking, yes. And Corey's out of California. He could do mortgages in 48 out of 50 states. He can't do New York and Hawaii. Am I right, Corey?
Yes, right now.
Yes,
that is
right
correct.
now. Okay.
Yeah, right now.
So yeah, sorry. I just want to clarify that for everyone.
I've done loans in New York. That's how I met Damon. But right now, the company I'm with right now, we don't do it.
So Angela, what should people look for in an agent when they start shopping for in a home?
Well, knowledge, somebody that really has been around and know the market and can really educate you about the process. If you meet an agent and they don't want to sit down with you and do like a buyer's consultation and tell you, what the steps are and what to expect and educate you along the process, then that's probably an agent that you might want to think about working with. a lot of times different buyers will come to me, and you know from their experience, like when I met Rodney, he's already been a homeowner, so he didn't need or require that kind of buyer's consultation. But I work a lot with first-time home buyers, and they come in totally not knowing anything about how to navigate this path to home ownership. So they really need someone that can help them go through the process, because it is a process that involves whether the inspection, the attorneys, the lenders, the appraisers, everything. So you really want to get them to understand what's ahead and to make sure that they don't fall into any of these pitfalls. And I give them a whole little homeowner package guide to tell them what steps not to take that will prevent them from owning a home. I'm sure that the lender can tell you already that sometimes people will start on the process and do something crazy, like going out to lease a car and totally changing their debt to income ratio, and now they can't qualify. So you want to be able to educate someone before the process starts so that they don't trip themselves up along the way.
This question is for Corey and Angela, and I think I come from grandparents and grandparents that were owners, but I noticed today, and you can tell me if you've experienced this, when it comes to buying a home or getting qualified for a mortgage, so many of our people just, one, feel intimidated. Secondly, almost feel like the seller is doing them a favor. They're willing to do anything to get into the home. Have you been in a situation where you need to tell people, this is not the time, you need to take a moment, you need to get it together first? Because there's some people I think would take anything just to qualify, would take anything just to get a home. And we almost feel like, we forget that we're the customer. There should be a value in us. But some people will do anything to try to just say, I own a home, even if it's the wrong position.
That's why the consultation is so key, because in different markets, different things are important. Sometimes it might be the right attitude. I just want to get into a house. It depends on what's going on in the market. It depends on what type of home it is, where it is. So knowing that information is really key before you know what attitude to bring to the market. As I said, when I started, the market was completely different. It was a buyer's market. We were incentivizing buyers to buy, and homeowners were in a rough place where there was like 20 buyers per one house, So, well, there were like 20 houses and one buyer. So It was different. Now it's the flipped. So now you have to know what the market is. You have to know each individual person's scenario. First-time home buyers are going to be different than second-time home buyers. They're going to be investors that are going to be different from an owner-occupied buyer. So every situation, you really should have someone who has experience navigating all those situations, because you might come in over eager, or you might come in not eager enough because you don't know what's going on in the market. So it's like anything else. If you're a dishwasher, you're going to wash dishes better than anybody else. Then a corporate attorney is going to come in and be fumbling with the sponges and the dish rag. But you're talking to someone who does it all the time and can really kind of give you that information. And you go with your gut too. You sat down with 2 or 3 realtors and they're talking a lot of stuff, but you're not feeling that they're being giving you information that's important or educating you about the process. Then they're really just trying to close a deal and make a commission, and they don't really care.
So somebody has a quick question. Real quick. Somebody has a question that says, should a seller also look for the same qualities in the agent? The seller.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, a seller as well as a buyer is going to look for the same information in an agent. I mean, if you're an experienced agent and you know the market, you're going to be able to help that seller just as you're going to be able to help that buyer. Because I've worked with Rodney. I respect him. I know he is very well informed and everything. But in the bottom line, Rodney will say to me, well, Angela, what do you think? What should the price be? Because of the fact that he knows I'm doing it all the time. I'm the one that's looking at the changes in the market. I'm the one that gets on MLS every day, which is the multiple listing service. So I can tell him, this is what's going to happen with this property. This is where I think you should buy. Then he uses his information. The buyer, the seller uses their information about what their goals are. so that we can come to a meeting of the minds and move forward so that everybody can, come to a satisfactory conclusion, either selling the home or buying the home.
And Kevin, if you guys don't mind, can you guys hear me still?
Yeah, we hear you, Corey.
Okay, I think in Kevin, to piggyback
off. See,
Kelvin.
somebody else did it. Somebody else did
because it's too small. My screen is so small.
Nah, that's cool. Go ahead, Corey.
Sorry about that. But
no, it's a running joke with us, man.
Okay.
So,
It's gonna go away either.
What I have seen too often, especially with first-time home buyers, especially you guys are in New York, I'm out in California, LA County. So these are two very expensive areas to live.
Very expensive areas.
Very expensive areas to live, right? So what I find sometimes with persons who look like us, okay, is where they want to buy. Well, let me say this. They live in a certain neighborhood and then they want to buy a home, but they don't want to buy in the neighborhood where they're currently renting. And that might be the only place they qualify to buy. So they stay in this rut. It's like a dog chasing its tail, right? And so your comment was persons rushing because they get so excited, just want to buy something just to get into the game. I typically don't see it here in LA County because they almost it's like they got a champagne taste on a beer budget.
That's right.
Right. And it doesn't mean that they can't get in the game, and it doesn't mean they can't build their wealth, but they're so afraid to buying in certain neighborhoods because they have this thing that, well, I don't want to buy over there. I don't want to buy over there. And I'm looking at them thinking, you live there now. When I was working at a certain bank, because I had 16 years in traditional banking before I became, a direct lender. I would sit in certain neighborhoods and they come in and want to buy a home, but they say, oh, I don't want to buy over where I'm looking, I'm like, but you live here now. Right? Which tells me you can live here. But the mentality is they don't want to buy there. They're okay with renting. They don't want to buy. So it's frustrating to that knowledge. And this is where, what I would advise them and give them some tips and say, listen, you can buy here now and sell later and move on up. Doesn't necessarily mean you're going to die here, but you got to start somewhere. And this is where I would refer them to a Regent, to an Angela, who might give them that same inclusion and say, listen, you're renting right now and getting someone else wealthy. Why not get in that game and get some wealth right now? So that's where we just have to educate people and tell them, don't be afraid to buy in these certain neighborhoods because someone else is. And guess what? Someone else is, and they're getting all that wealth.
Angela, you want to say something?
He touched on exactly what I was going to say, is that a lot of times, yes, it is important to get in the game. It's not necessarily going to be your final property, but you have to start, and you have to realize that you're going to build equity rather than paying somebody's rent over, their mortgage over and over again. I have people who just kept pushing off because they couldn't find the neighborhood they wanted, or they couldn't find the exact house they wanted. Now, 3 years down the line, they've been priced out of the market because you waited and you waited and waited for this ideal that's not within your budget. And now the house that you would have paid $350 for is now $450, and you ended up having to buy it because you're just at this point now where you must buy in order to be able to afford, because now your income is not going up as fast as the prices of the home.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Angela, you think it's a good time for people to start looking for a house now?
The interest rate makes it really, really a great time to buy a house, but I know that there's different type of markets, and we're in a seller's market right now.
Correct.
We're in a very strong seller's market. So I have a lot of very, very frustrated buyers because the competition is so stiff. You go into the market right now and you think you have a $450 budget, so you go to look at a house that's $440. That house is going to go for $460.
Correct.
And so you're not gonna really be looking for, if you have a $500,000 budget, make yourself look at houses at 470. Otherwise, you're not going to be competitive. And be sure that you have everything in order. I mean, you need to already have your pre-approval. You need to have already talked to Corey and make him aware that you're looking for a house, and he's already qualified you and made you a strong prospective buyer in the market, because it is a strong seller's market. But of course, it's a great time to buy a house. The interest rates, prices aren't going to drop. Buy. If you can't afford to buy, buy. If you can't afford to buy, get ready. Start saving, putting that money away. You want to be able to raise that credit score. The higher the credit score, the lower your debt, the higher your saving amount. You can come into the market and buy something that's going to appreciate and build your wealth. But you have to be aware of what's going on in the market. You can't come in, okay, I'm going to look at a $500,000 house and my budget is 500, but you haven't discussed with a realtor or your lender what the taxes on that house need to be and what your closing costs need to be, what's your cash on hand. You have to come into the market prepared, because it's not a forgiving market. And if you do something, you're going to just be spinning your wheels, chasing your tail. You're not going to accomplish your goal.
And Angela, correct me if you agree with me, if you have a different opinion, because I get asked this question a lot too, especially during the holidays. Is it a good time to buy right now? And so one of the things that come to mind is the holidays bring a lot of people on vacation. And so I end up doing well in the last November and December because I continue to work through the holidays. It's just always been my thing. But then at the same time, now you guys have different weather out there in New York too. So what happens during the holidays, there's not a lot of people looking to buy because their minds are somewhere else because it's the holidays. And then those who have their homes listed to sell, their needs to want to hurry up and sell might get greater. So it might be beneficial to a buyer to go out and buy during the holidays for a number of reasons. One, there's not a lot of people, not a lot of buyers competing with you. It's less because it's a holiday season. You don't have a lot of buyers competing with you. And then second, those who are selling their property during the holidays, they might have a better incentive to want to get it sold during the holidays for tax purposes. Right. So don't discount because it's a holiday season. Is it a good time to buy right now? It is still a seller's market, but it's going to go towards the buyers right around this Christmas time because of what I just mentioned. Holidays, people on vacation, not a lot of people out there buying in the wintertime. Angela, correct me if you agree or disagree.
Oh, I definitely agree with that. I always tell buyers, don't let a little cold and snow stop you, because this is the best time, because the ones that got stopped are the ones that won't be able to reap the benefits. If you make that little extra push to go out there, you know, it's dark at 5 o'clock here. So people are like, I'm not going to go look at this house after work. I'll wait till the weekend. If they'll allow you to see that house during the week, you might want to make that extra effort to go and see it before they get 3 other offers and then you're on top of a pile. Or maybe you gave them that offer right away and they were like, let's just snap this up and move forward. And then everybody else will come in as a backup offer. So you have to use every advantage you can get in this buyer's market. So if it means looking in what's considered our off-peak real estate season, to keep looking as fervently as you did in the summer and the springtime, that might be to your advantage.
Angela, how hard is it now for investors to find properties?
It's very, very hard because even the banks who have done some foreclosures, because it's the seller's market and because we've had such a steep incline in prices, it just shot up over the last 2 years very much. So they are fixing up the houses themselves and then selling them. They're not even letting them stay as distressed properties. They're taking the time to renovate those foreclosures. You'll see renovated foreclosures coming from the bank now. Yep. So, and then, you know, they have the auctions. Everybody have the online auctions, and they're usually going for cash, or they have the properties that are tenant occupied that are, if you're not a very experienced investors, you're not going to want to buy a property that's tenant occupied and then having to worry about evicting that tenant, especially during the time of COVID where, nobody was getting evicted. I'm not even sure it's going to start again in January with the spike going the way it is. So it's harder now to find an investment property. Your best bet is to know somebody who is, like, I know a few people in my neighborhood that they're elderly. I know somebody broke a hip and something happened to somebody. So I might talk to the son who comes by and say, oh, are you guys going to sell the house? The house might not have been in the best condition. They don't want to fix it up, but they're going to move their mom, someplace closer to them. You say, well, I have a cash buyer, or I have a buyer who you don't have to do anything. A lot of these iBuyers or cash offer, instant offer buyers are all the big thing now. And that's what the investors are doing, because now the prices are so high, they're going to make a good return on their investment.
Cash is king, right?
Cash is king.
Yeah. So, Angela, people asking. Yeah, this has been enlightening. People asking, do you only do business in Freeport?
Oh, no. I mean, I do business everywhere. I am a neighborhood realtor for the most part in the Nassau County South Shore area, but I sell in Queens and in Brooklyn, and Suffolk County. I don't do anything really upstate or, Manhattan and that kind of area, or even the Bronx. But for the most part, Queens, Nassau, Brooklyn, Suffolk.
And Corey, people asking, when were you able to do business in New York? Because they like.
Hopefully shortly. I'll look into it. So I know how to do loans in New York. It's just at the company that I work under, New American Funding, right now. That's just one of the states where we're not licensed to do business in that, in Hawaii. Why, I don't know. I can take a guess, but New York has some very unique nuances with the mortgage tax and consolidated extended mortgage agreement. That's one thing, aspect of it. Different counties record their deeds differently. You guys have these are not bad things, they're just nuances to that state. So but hopefully, just check with me. As we were speaking, I made my Instagram page public, and I'll probably do so with my Facebook for a little while too. I'll do that too. So I get it's only private just because I get all these calls from different companies, headhunters, and I'm not bragging. It's just is what it is, and I just get tired of all these influxes. They're always looking, and I'm like, I just rather service my clients and keep it pushing. But hopefully shortly.
Yeah.
Hopefully shortly.
And if anybody's looking, also, like Rodney and I do business with Links Mortgage out in Long Island, and Rodney we both have this lady, the owner of the company, Shabana's information. So if anybody's looking for a mortgage and thing, just contact me. You can find me, DemonPearson@gmail.com and stuff like that. So,
and Angela, you want to give out your information as well? Maybe a website, social media, a phone number?
Yeah, you can probably find me on all of the social media platforms and Zillow as Angela Sells Homes. But I'm Angela Harris with HomeSmart. My number is 516-506-8773. If you can throw it in the chat for anybody. But it's Angela Sells Homes on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Easy to find, pretty much.
And I'm just as easy to find as well. My name is Corey McManus. Is Kori. Last name McManus. M as in Mary, C as in Charles, M as in Mary, ANUS. That's Corey McManus. You can find me on Facebook that way, and also on Instagram. My number is 323-228-0623. I've had the same phone number for 15 plus years. No, it's been longer than that, so I'm not going to change it. So, but and I do answer and I do respond to texting as well. So I know that's a lot of times you can just ask your question, because if I don't recognize the numbers, a lot of times I won't answer, but I do check my voicemails frequently and all the time, and I will get back with you. And if you have a question, you can text me and I can answer your question, call you back. But either of those platforms, Corey McManus at Facebook or Corey McManus on Instagram. And also, if you send me an email, I can also direct you to my my website, which is at newamericanfunding.com/Corey McManus. But if you email me or text me or call me, and I'll give you that all my contact information. So I'm easy to find as well.
And Corey's always willing to help out people when they go through loans with other companies. I always have him on the phone. My old supervisor, this guy picks up the phone for me any time of the night. So that's my dog right there, man. So
Yeah.
Angela, Corey, thank you so much for coming on tonight, man. So many questions were coming in and stuff like that. It was great. The biggest thing our community don't have is information. That's the biggest thing we don't have. That's the goal. That is the goal. Having that information. Once now people know how to navigate. So we truly appreciate you both, Angela and Corey. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Nate, anytime.
Right.
Appreciate you.
Thanks
guys.
again, guys, and thanks for what you're doing. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Angela, your check is in the mail. It's coming.
Oh, let me give you my Cash App information.
I'll give you your cut. All right.
Good talk, man.
You guys have a good one.
Thanks.
All right, man. Peace, brother. Peace.
Man, I was just sitting in the cut, just soaking it up, man. You know, that's a lot of great information.
Yeah, that was good, man. Information is key, man. Like, I didn't learn about 401k stuff till I was hanging with this dude from FedEx. So like he gave me the jewel, and then like you go run after that. So that's the main thing. Like young people need to hear this information instead of just listening to other BS. This is really good talk, right? And hearing it from people that look like us and making it real simple. That's why a lot of people saying like they put it right there where the goats can get it. So that was really dope. It was really dope.
Yeah.
I got some unfortunate news. Our next guest bailed out.
Oh, are you serious?
It wasn't chicken wing, right?
Nah, I was a chicken wing, man. She texting me now, like I'm tight, man. Like that's why I was looking down, guys. I'm trying to convince her because she said she had to go. I apologize for everyone for this, man. We're just gonna have some interesting topics. I could talk about the topic, but I can't say I did this topic, but I don't talk. I heard about it in the grapevine. So like,
maybe we can catch him the next time, man. You know, get him on next time.
Chicken Wing is writing right now. He's on right now.
Oh Lord, I can't bring the wing in for this. Hell no, I can't bring the wing under this one.
Hot.
But the topic's gonna be basically about alternative lifestyles. Like one thing, like Rod and I have a homeboy, right? I mean, everybody got whatever tickles their fancy, right? So Rod, you got the denial face that you know this guy with me.
I don't even. D, I'm gonna be totally honest with you. I get nervous when it looks like you're gonna tell a story.
I get nervous for you.
I don't know if the story's really gonna be about a friend or it's really gonna be about one of us. So, but go ahead, D. Let's go.
This is our mutual friend. So we talking, right? We ride into this event, right? 4 of us in the cars, Rodney, myself, and our 2 other homeboys. No names. So we all talking stories about what we like to get on with girls and all this other stuff like that. I told them about
oh my God.
I used to use the frozen put water in the condom and freeze it. I told them about that story and everything. But I won't get into details about that right now. I won't get into details about it. It's called the ice pick. I just want to tell you it's called the ice pick. It's called the ice pick. But I'll explain that later on. If you call me on my cell phone, I'll tell the rest of you. So our other homeboy's like, he's like, yeah, man, know what I'm into, man? He's like I like getting a fresh haircut. And he has a bald head, clean shaven. Bald, clean everywhere. I like getting a fresh haircut. Then I get in the tub and my girl urinates on me. He loves the golden showers.
That's a true story.
That's a true story. Am I lying?
Okay, wait. Let me say this.
I'm not into this.
I want my disclaimer written on my face. Like, I don't want to just say I just want to have a disclaimer put up that scrolls. But no, the views represented.
God bless you.
He's telling the truth. That's a true story. He said he likes to get a fresh haircut and gets peed on, and it burns.
Yep.
And
do me a favor. You 2 gentlemen give out your emails so you can get the stuff directly. No, I don't want the complaints coming up to Derik and I. Make sure everybody there's Rodney and
there's a lot that D left out that story.
I left a lot,
and we appreciate it. But
I'm going to finish it. I'm going to finish it.
It's the alley-oop?
Yes,
I thought we got away.
I'll give you an assist. This is an assist.
Oh, it's an assist. All right, here comes the assist. Right.
So this individual is in the car with us. It was, like he said, it was 4 of us, and he decided he wanted to tell his story. While he was telling the story, the car went completely silent. Dude, I'm not saying when they say you can hear.
Oh man.
So now I think D, you were driving, correct?
I was driving.
And me and D were in the front, and they were in the back of the car. And he's telling his story, and all of a sudden, the fourth person in the car said, "Dude, do you realize who you just told that story to in front of, talking about me and D?" So then all of a sudden, me and D looked over each other, and we said, "Get him." Dude, we rode him all day. All these golden shower jokes we talked about, or whatever. And be honest with you, like we thought only white people did that.
You know? See, that's the thing, man. Like, yo, this is the same person that did the stud. That stud is It's the same person that had the stud when the girl tried to get moral sex. They had stud on the street. So
wait a minute, what's the stud, man?
Stud. Remember, stud is the stuff you back in the day. It was before Viagra. You spray on your tip of your penis, and then you're supposed to let your thing it gets aroused, and you're supposed to stay hard for a long time. So
okay.
What it does is it desensitizes you, so it numbs you a little bit.
Okay, Derik, you give out your email.
I never get it. I never use it
now too, Derik. Derik part of it now too, because Derik had to ask the follow-up question. That's what you get. That's exactly what you
get. My God, my friend Lisa, we wasn't driving with R. Kelly.
No, R. Kelly wasn't in the car.
And this is before. I think this is before R. Kelly.
This was before R. Kelly.
This is before R. Kelly. Yeah, but like when Biggie, there's some people into like different kind of lifestyles and stuff like that. I'm not knocking it to you, I'm knocking it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I heard about this. I ain't never say I participated in this stuff. I heard about like I wanted the young lady to get on because I know her for a long time. She did swinging, S&M, and all kind of stuff. Like now we start to see a lot of people talking about these I hope I'm pronouncing this right. My education, my black college education is gonna kick in right now. Polyamorous relationships. So and she's into that. So I like if people want to chime in the chat, it'd be kind of interesting to see like basically you in love with two people, and you're like in a relationship with two people. And some people say it's some benefits to this because now you have it's 3 incomes and all kind of stuff like that. You're raising kids together. It's going back to that. I guess like Africa they had stuff like this. People multiple wives and families as long as you can take care of everybody. So
it's got to get complicated at some point.
I don't know why. It was hard enough. You was just having one, bro.
Yeah. Like the thing is, I'm in a house full of kids with a wife, and that's a big job within itself. Just imagine living with 2 wives and everybody that. Yeah, it's got to be complicated.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'll be honest with you. It's kind of hard because again, some of the stuff I guess is subjective. What people like, I have to admit, I do believe that there's a lot of people that will front and posture for public consumption and have some real wild, weird stuff going on. I don't know any scenarios where you want to bring urine into the frame. It just always seems like something you want to get away from you. Like urine just seems to be in theory, urine just seems like it should be disposed of. That's what I always put. It's waste. That was it should never be coming. It should be going. That's what I always thought. But there are different strokes for different folks, I guess, literally and figuratively. But I'll say this, though. This is what I think is dangerous. Right now, because of the way the internet is, and because younger people have access to anything. When I was a kid, the biggest thing my friends and I get together we discovered Playboy books. And that was like a big deal. Okay. Today, that would be antiquated. It would be because kids are exposed to so much. What we knew at 18, they probably know at 8 now. And that's just frightening because eventually people get desensitized to stuff. And next minute it becomes just a free fall.
Word.
Okay, so y'all could just leave me out there by myself, right? So
no.
They said I wasn't looking at Playboy, right?
They said not all poly people live in the same house.
Yeah. So
they just stop by and visit. Like how does that work?
They have different, like I guess
different days of the week they come by.
I mean, whatever works. Sometimes you add on because I've seen it before. Where I forgot what network I was watching it. So the guy. He had his wife and whatever, and then she went on a trip, and then she went on a trip, he went on a trip, and they met with their prospective partners in different locations and stuff like that. And then they, I guess it worked. They was all happy. They came back home. I guess a little change up because, like, I remember what's the dude that he's having books. He's having the books back in the day. He's being on the radio on BLS. he said that the craziest thing is everybody's doing something because the hotels are always packed on the weekend. So why are people acting like nobody's out there creeping?
Hey, listen.
Oh, I think I know the guy you're talking about.
I forgot he had the books back in the day. I forgot his name. He was the glasses and so I forgot.
I always say, you talk about these, everybody says, oh, these men out here cheating, they're out here cheating. I'm like, well, who the heck are they cheating with? You know what I mean? So it's the same 5 women,
Women,
no.
women cheat too. They cheat too.
But this is at least with polyamory, you know what it is. But
Chicken Wing telling my secret, man. Chicken Wing, keep that on the low, man. Now you don't blow up my ice pick story, my ice pick thing, man. Goddamn Chicken Wing, man. I gotta watch
that guy's dangerous, man. He's dangerous.
It's dangerous, man. So listen, man. So guys, let me go on this kind of time. What you gentlemen like turn offs and turn ons? I can tell you mine, but I'll let you guys go first. Well, women.
Turn offs.
Turn on. Give me let's do turn offs first. Let's do turn offs first.
Turn offs. You want me to start?
Go ahead, brother. The floor is yours.
Well, I'm not dating, so I mean, but the thing is, when I was long time ago, like one of the main turn offs for me was a woman that smoked, right? And then another turn off would be grabbing air, right? So those were pretty much my biggest 2 turn offs.
Wait, you said grabbing hair?
No, grabbing air. Like when a chick
talk like this, right? Yeah, they talk like this.
When they go, to me, I call that shit grabbing air. Like, what are you grabbing? You know what I'm saying? But those are like my 2 biggest turn offs. Turn ons. I'm gonna say being able to have an intelligent conversation and loyalty. Those are my 2 biggest turn ons.
Loyalty is a huge turn on.
Loyalty is huge because, like I said, I'm going to give the same thing. I'm going to give you 110. I just want 110 back. You know what I'm saying?
I always dug confidence too, man. I've never been. I like confidence. I've never shied away from a loyal, confident, dynamic woman, man. Yeah, that's what I really dig. Turn offs, bad posture. Yeah. You know what I mean? You ever see these women? Yeah. No, let me tell you something.
She can't stand up straight.
Yo. What used to kill me back in high school was these women that I will see, these girls, I should say at this point, bad posture, shoulders slumped over like this, and they be sliding their feet as they walk up the street.
Where you go to school at, man? Notre Dame, like the Huntsman?
Let me tell you.
You went to a cerebral palsy school.
No, you know what? It's just
no sponsors for the Rodney.
I'm a little hard on them because I really like posture. You know what I'm saying? I like when a woman, shoulders back and and walks. You know what I mean? Like you got something going on, like you're doing something. I would see these little girls, walking around. I just felt like they just didn't have good posture, man. And they was usually the ones that were kind of loud and didn't really, I didn't like loud women either. Like
loud is a number.
I don't mind a confident woman, but a loud woman that's out here slunching. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
And the women I know with this like all guys right here talking.
Yeah. Pick your feet up when you walk.
We just give me a little barbershop talk, Kelvin. You want to say anything, or you want me?
I guess it may coincide with some of the fellas that I'm not a fan of.
Yes, Alyssa.
Of losing it.
Turn on. Yeah.
Her name is Lisa.
Lisa, okay. Lisa, yes. I keep calling Lisa. I don't know. Lisa, thank you. Yeah, posture's a huge turn on.
She'll beat me up at work if you keep pronouncing the name wrong.
Okay, I don't want to. You got to see her, yeah.
Go ahead, sir. Sorry, Kevin, what you saying?
Yeah, I'm just not a fan of losing it. I think communication is very important. I mean, just finding a way to talk. I don't like the expression, I don't want to talk about it. I don't mind, I don't want to talk about it right now. But I don't want to talk about it at all. And I just think losing it and just not communicating, because I don't think there's any other way to get resolved. And then I would say the thing I like someone to be friendly. I think friendliness is an old concept. Just being friendly to people, just being nice. Again, I think, and I'm not knocking women at all. I think women have to defend against a lot. I think there becomes a hardness because from the time they start developing, they have so many men or guys or whatever coming at them. So I understand that, but I like someone that could just be genuinely, kind and friendly. I think that's a real turn on.
Yeah, I agree with you. Nice. I like nice. I like intelligent, smart, and I love a woman in some white pants. God damn it, boy. White pants. God damn it. I'm telling you right now, some goddamn white pants. I can't. That shit turns my head every time I see them damn white pants. You can wear them joints in the wintertime. I don't give a damn. Wear the white pants. But my turn off, my number one turn off is where the woman lives at. When I say
where a woman lives at.
Where she lives at. If she lives in listen, I might get stabbed in the back. I can't date women that live in the project. The reason I'm serious is a few reasons why. I'll give you a few reasons. Can't find parking. I want to date no woman that live in Co-op City. Start all the place like that. There's no parking.
No Co-op City, no Star City. You out there?
No parking. You know what I'm saying? The Alta side street is no parking. But the number one thing is once I walk into the door, who walks me back through the courtyard? Because there's too many of them outside. You know what I mean? Them dudes. Who walks me back to my car? I walk her safe. I gotta get back.
Right. You gotta go home.
My well-being. I gotta go. I can't do it. I can't date. And I can't press I don't want to get in the elevator either.
Yeah, D. I can kind of relate to that. I remember one time dropping a lady off to her house, and she said, "Can we stop by the store before you drop me off at the house?" I said, "Yeah, sure." And then she'd show me where the store was. We pulled up in front of the store. Dude, it was thugged out city in front of that store.
Thugged out.
Oh, and I said, there is no way. No, there's no way I'm getting out of this car.
No way.
We didn't gotta find a 7-Eleven somewhere because I'm going to go over there.
No way. And
no, that ain't the store.
No way.
There's I mean, kid, I'm not exaggerating. I mean, everything under the sun was in front of that store. Crackhead. It was bad.
It was a lot.
Oh, there's a store right there. I said, no, we ain't going to that store.
I don't know what that is.
Word, I can't do it, man. It's just too much because you got somebody who's gonna try to sell you something. Somebody might try to rob you on the way. Somebody might mistake. I can't do it. I drop you off mine. You're not even calling to check on me if I got back to my car. I thought I made it home. Like I'm not doing it. I can't do it, bro. I don't. And as I got older, I limited the boroughs in New York. Like if I got the Bronx is a no. I'm not paying that toll. Staten Island, I'm not paying that hard toll. It's certain Long Island, Brooklyn, Queens, maybe Harlem. Got to go over the 59th Street Bridge. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's about it. I'm not doing
it. Yeah. One of your comments said is that there's a lot of good women that live in the hood. We definitely agree with that, but we're just saying you're making it harder for us.
I know.
Yeah. Why do you make it so hard? Right.
Yeah. Well, see, I want to date and get jumped on a date, picking you up. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you obviously have to be a protector. I think that it's harder when you're young because they will test the younger guy. Yeah. I'll give you an example. When I was, I think I was 19 years old, and I dated a young lady who was 3 years older than me. And this was back in the, I don't know how the sundresses were really big.
Oh, I love it.
The ladies with the sundresses and they're really form fitting. And I have a car. Okay. So, I'm walking. There was an area in Queens called Bricktown. Okay. Mm-hmm. And, like if you were in the military, that's where you'd want to be stationed at, there or Iraq. Okay. So Bricktown. So I'm walking through Bricktown with this young lady who I think is very, very attractive. We turn one corner and there is the Rikers Island boxing team on the corner, chin ups, pull up, push up. And I'm telling you, they said everything they could say regarding the woman I was with.
Oh, okay. Wow. Like you weren't even there, man.
Like I wasn't there. And I guess theoretically I wasn't because I did not say a word because I knew all I had to do was say one thing to Ray Ray and Pookie, and they was waiting for it too. They was waiting for it, and she understood. That's what made it so bad. She understood. There is a pressure. There is a pressure to being with a woman, especially one that's attractive, because you now are a defender. And I ain't no punk. I just want to say that for everybody at home. I ain't no punk. But I'm saying, in other words, these.
But you ain't no fool either.
Exactly. And it's some dudes, when you're younger, they will test you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Kelvin, you're lucky she didn't say, "Oh, you ain't gonna say nothing to them for saying that to me."
And I said, "That is right. I'm not."
They not talking to us. Just.
But see, now this is the thing I won't do because I saw a guy do this, and this was the punk move. So he's walking with his girl, and these dudes in front of a store, they catcalling, they saying everything. He get a block away to him. Like, wait a minute. I know they wasn't talking to you. She was like, shut up.
Yo, listen, sundress. Listen, no, I miss the good old cheap $8 dress, the crackhead dress, the $8 crackhead summer dress. That was the best dress ever. That was the best dress for that, the $8 dress. But let me ask you guys, like you and Derik and Rodney, you're married and stuff like that. Like, what do y'all think? Like, how do keeping a marriage going, like hot and all that stuff like that? You know, like what are your thoughts on that kind of stuff? Like people saying like, yo, my girl's not a freak, she don't do this or whatever. What are your thoughts on those kind of things?
Hey man, marry well, brother. Just take time and figure out who you trying to marry, man. Because you know you got to be compatible. Things that you dig, she got to dig it too, man. You get that out the way in the dating phase, bro. You know what I mean? So you know, like I'm saying, listen, if you invite me and my wife over to your house for a dinner party and we disappear for 20 minutes, man, you know. It might be one of those boomerang situations, you know what I mean? You come out the bathroom, I'm like, oh Lord, you know.
I agree with Derik. Like those, if you having sexual problems in your marriage, I mean, you should have noticed that prior to the marriage. You know what I'm saying? It's all about compatibility. You know what your female likes, what you like, and each other likes. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you get married, that doesn't mean your sex life goes dead. You know, it shouldn't. You know what I mean? Another thing too, in your marriage, before your marriage, you should have expressed some of the things you like or whatever you into to be able to see if that person is compatible for you. You know what I'm saying? Because let's face the fact, sex in a marriage is important. Sex in a relationship is important. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's the only thing, but it's definitely up there.
Oh yeah.
You know? It's up there.
So let me ask you this question. Is that you know, coming up, especially in ministry, that's one of the things you get with a lot of young people at retreats and things like that. That would be a question that people would ask. So I want to ask this question, and this is going to sound like a weird question. It's strange. I always like to ask this to young Christians. You get married, okay? Within 1 year, you find out that the person you married will not be able to have sex for medical reasons. What do you do?
Are you Christian?
The person that you just said, for better or for worse, for richer or poorer, that person, okay? And I'm going to tell you where I got this scenario from. I'll tell you where I got it from. Many years ago, there was a show, and this woman said that she couldn't have sex with her husband because her vaginal tract was too small and it was painful. So she told him she understood if he needed to go out and do what he needed to do, right? It turned out on this show that the person was actually a man. Now, don't let that. I know it's one of those weird talk shows back in the day. So it made me think of when you say that sex is so important. I just changed the scenario and said, what if the person that you love in a head over heels with, what if they are unable to perform sex? And I've asked a lot of women that, and I've gotten some very, very hilarious answers. But go ahead. So
the thing is, you're saying that they can't perform sex, and if you find this out after you got married?
No. 1 year, within 1 year of getting married. They were good until within 1 year. So now 1 year after you are married, what'd you say, Rodney?
No, Kelvin, there's more than one way to have sex.
Right. Okay.
More than one way to have sex.
What that mouth do?
I mean, the thing is, we not take. We got a point here. We're not taking it off the table completely. In my mind, we just have to. We have to just figure it out.
So but the main thing is you're gonna stay. 1 year, you're gonna stay though.
Yeah, I mean, if I married my wife, and then later on after we got married, found out that was something that we couldn't do anymore. Like I said, we'll find other alternatives. You know,
I'm very, very impressed with that because I got some people was like they were out.
But we just can't have sex that way.
Yeah. You know, that's I guess
somebody said, "What's up with the crying game?"
And then they called me Melvin, so I done been Calvin, Kevin, and Melvin. All right, look.
Listen, that's a tough thing, man.
I didn't come up with the scenario. I just thought about why. You know, what do you do in that situation? Because I was surprised that the dude waited 13 years. You know, especially when you carry the one. I mean, that's a minute. That's a long time. So I'm just saying. But because you made the point that it is so important.
Yeah, it's one of the things.
Right,
it's up there.
right.
It's definitely up there.
Right.
But like I said, I mean, that's not a reason to be
It's
out
not a
for me.
reason,
You know what I'm saying?
because listen, us guys, we get a certain age. What if we had to get prostate cancer?
Correct. It can happen. It can happen to one of us.
But see, that's why I make it very, very early on.
Oh, like the 1 year, one year.
Because what happens, I think a large majority of people would leave even with tears in their eyes, or the person to be like, I'm going to get my nails done again for the 10th time this week. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the, you know, some people wind up having to step out or whatever. I just think it's a lot. You know, it's a lot, and it's a lot to ask. And you know,
that's why marriage is a big commitment. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
people got to understand that. People take it for granted. I mean, technically, you marry somebody, you in it for the long haul. You know, it's for better or for worse.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, she's supposed to hold you down. You're supposed to hold her down. Take care of family, build together, grow, all that. You know.
So just for the record, everybody is staying, right, D?
Yeah, because you could buy me a sex doll, and I could, you know, you buy me a sex doll. They got them good looking ones nowadays, man. So, you know.
Hey, look, you got some accommodation, man. You know what I mean? When you've been in the game that long, listen, like you said, it's the first year. You know, that's a tough sell, man. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna lie, that's a real tough sell.
Well, let me tell you something. I'm gonna tell you.
I'm not gonna leave after 1 year. I mean, if
Right.
Yeah,
but,
it's not.
You know what I mean? But I would like to say stay, because it's for better or for worse. It really is. You know, and my wife just chimed in right there, y'all. She said, and she's like, you better be glad. Our situation is what it is, because if you was asking this question about you that's what that meant.
Okay, but listen. I'll say this, and I'm very, very, very proud of this. One of my closest friends, he got married. I think it was like 07 or something. I don't know what happened to him. He had some type of breakdown. He had a breakdown. He is not the same person.
Yeah.
He cannot take care of himself anymore.
Yeah.
He is a shell of himself. I don't even stay in contact anymore. You couldn't even communicate with him. That woman, this happened within 6 months of them getting married. When I tell you, she has dedicated her life to taking care of him. She has stayed, and I'm astounded. I'm amazed by it. She has stayed.
Yeah.
It blows my mind, and it's so unfair. But she is right there by his side. She had the perfect opportunity to get this annulled and leave. She stayed, and she takes care of him.
That's power women, man. That's the power of women, bro.
Yeah, correct. You know what I'm saying? The woman.
I don't know how many men that would have stayed, bro. I don't know.
I'm gonna be real with you.
That would have stuck around.
Okay, I don't think I should be real with you.
Look, I'm just being honest.
No, I don't.
There's not. Let's speak, man. There's not a lot. I don't know a lot of guys that would have, stuck in there, or at least wouldn't have crept out or something. You know what I mean? And women usually stay. Man.
Yeah, and men don't.
Yeah, McCole, that's right. I can't even front.
Yeah,
yeah.
Men will be quicker to be out than women.
Like I said before,
what it is.
If she let me have a girlfriend, we could have a happy marriage.
D, you know what? Y'all start putting his email address next to his name.
Nah, guys. Yo, listen, man. This was a good show, man, tonight, man. I mean, sorry we missed one person, but I think the informative talk was so important. I'm getting text messages from some of my friends. I saw the chat going up. We didn't answer everyone's question, but we try to get to everyone's question. If you, like I said before, reach out to us. You have my personal email. Whoever knows me, text me. I'll give you Corey and Angela's information. Rodney has Angela's information. If you look back at the podcast, they gave all the information. So thank you so much. Please like, subscribe, Facebook, especially YouTube. And once again, thanks again for making us get 100 viewers, subscriptions rather. The Apple, and I think I got Spotify. Yeah, Spotify. So I think so guys, it was great talking, man. I love you all, man.
Love you, brother.
Keep safe, man. And I'll
Love
see you
too.
All y'all, brothers.
All right. Peace, brothers. Peace.
All right.